A very, very close friend of mine who I love dearly and appreciate so much her coming all the way out here, Amy Venner.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me here. And every time I watch that video, I think that the producer did such a good job of capturing the spirit of who we are and a lot of the things that we say. I forget what I want to say to you guys because they already say it in the video. But one thing that is really important to Dave and I, it's really important that we do get to know our distributor base and our customers. And just like the way we like to know our employees and our vendors. So does anybody here in your house, you have family rules or family values or house rules, right? Everybody has family rules or house, values. And so we have that at the company as well. We have something called company core values. And that's something that's really, really important. And you're probably wondering, why is she leading with this? But I think it's a good intro to give you an insight into what kind of company Purium really is. And so the things that we have as our company core values, raise your hand if you've been on a tour. I know several people here. So when you reach the rank of diamond with our company, we bring you out to California and you get to go on a tour of the facility. And so several people here have already done that and achieved that. And you'll see all over the warehouse, there's these huge banners. All over the office, there's signs that talk about our company core values. And so these are things like integrity, quality, responsibility, teamwork, customer-oriented, things like that. Those are the things that Dave and I use. Those are the criteria that we use to make decisions on. So basically, when we have to make any kind of decision, whether it's a product decision, an employee decision, a policy decision, we match it up against those values before we can say yes to that decision. And if it doesn't meet the criteria of our house rules, we have to go back and rethink that decision. So that's who we are as a company. It's a little bit different than corporate America. So Dave and I own over 90% of the company, and so it's really awesome. We have no plans of bringing on a venture capital partner or selling because we love having the ability. It's so important for us to be able to answer to our own core values of that integrity and responsibility and quality versus what some third party is dictating to you, because when some third party comes in, what do you need to answer to? You need to answer to a bottom line. You need to answer to a profit target. And that's something that Dave and I are not. That's not what drives us. What drives Dave and I is the number of lives that we are able to change. So we are so excited at how many transformations we sold. We're so excited at how many distributors we've brought into the company. We're excited that we're on that Inc. 5000 list. But what really drives us, it's not sales, it's not top line or bottom line, it's really the number of lives we've been able to impact. It's really the number of lives we've been able to change. And so this has been a mission that we have been on for, as Cindy mentioned, over 23 years. And so I'll tell you just a brief story of how I got started in all of this. So I was a young girl in Texas and just eating the standard American diet, just living my life. I was a dancer, I was doing well in school, but as I became a teenager and I started high school, my skin started breaking out really bad. I had really bad acne. And I had no idea what was going on. And so I had really good parents, and they took me to the dermatologist. And so what did they do? They put me on tetracycline. They did everything the dermatologist said. Put me on tetracycline. We did Retin-A, but it wasn't helping. Nothing was changing for me. And so my skin was bad, but it wasn't just my skin. Things started to change. Has anybody ever found themselves in what's called a downward spiral? One thing bad starts to happen, and then all these other bad things start to happen. So my skin, so I've got this physical thing on my skin, but then it really started to affect the way I thought, the decisions I was making, the relationships, my friends, things like that. I just didn't feel good about myself. So the reason I talk about that is because this thing and what Cindy talked about so passionately, the whole Million Mom movement and making an elevated awareness about the responsibilities we have for our children, it's not just on a physical front. It's on an emotional, a relationship, and even like a spiritual front. Because when you don't feel good about yourself because of this physical and this health-related thing, you're just not making good decisions. You're not feeling good about yourself. I was closing doors on opportunities. Opportunities were presenting themselves to me, and I just couldn't reach out and grab them because of the way I was feeling. So I quit my drill team. I don't go off to college. I mean, those are the kind of opportunities I shut the door on. And so I started working at this health food store, and I went to a local college. I played it safe. So I started working at this health food store, and this nutritionist that owned the store said, I can help you. I know I can help you. So what did she do? She put me on like 20 different supplements. I was taking pills all day long. But you know what? It still wasn't getting any better. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you know? And so she's like, come to this trade show with me. And I didn't want to go because I didn't want to be around people. You know, I mean, that's how bad I was feeling about myself and having issues with relationships. She's like, please come with me. So I go to this trade show. And so, you know, didn't want to be there, but I'm standing there with hundreds of people around, and this man walks up to me. So this man walks up to me, and he's like, I happen to notice you have a problem with your skin. And, you know, didn't want to be there, didn't want to go, like not liking life at the time. And I'm like, you do? Okay, you know. And, but this man was David Sandoval. So the reason I tell this story is this man was David Sandoval, and he was brave enough to approach me, to make me feel uncomfortable for a moment, but he offered a solution that literally changed my life in so many ways forever. You know? And so now I know that the act of doing that, the act to be brave enough to ask a question that matters, is called carefrontation. I didn't know it at the time. I was just totally embarrassed and humiliated to be standing there. But it's called carefrontation. When you can approach somebody with love and caring instead of judgment and ego, with love and caring, and offer a solution. And so he did offer me that solution. He said, I've got this green powder. I've got this stuff called green kamut. And that was the product that he, the one product that he had that he was trying to sell in health food stores at the time. And he's like, I know it's going to taste bad. He prefaced it with, I know it's going to taste bad, but I really need you to try it anyway. Has anybody had a healthy happy hour where somebody's tasted a power shake? And now you have to remember, this was long before Appleberry. Long before Appleberry. This was the real stuff. And so, you know, you have somebody and you taste it, and they taste it, and it's like, oh, I don't like that. You know, and he said, I want to tell you why it doesn't taste good. The reason it doesn't taste good, when it tastes the worst to you, is when you need it the most. And the reason you need it the most is because your body chemistry is completely out of whack. You're, you know, eating all this processed food and these chemicals and these artificial flavors and ingredients. You're over here so far on the acidic side. You're eating that standard American diet. And so this green juice is alkalizing and cleansing and detoxifying and everything that's different than what your palate's used to. If you're used to drinking sodas and now you're having a green drink, it's totally different. But he said, please keep taking it. Please keep trying it. And so I did. I mean, I was desperate at this point. And so I drank it, and then the strangest thing happened after a couple of weeks. It didn't taste quite so bad. So I drank more of it and more of it. Has this ever happened to anybody when they've introduced it to somebody? So you're like, please keep drinking it, and then it doesn't taste so bad, so you keep drinking it. Then you actually kind of like it, you know? And then after like 6 weeks, I'm like, something is happening with my skin. You know, a change was happening, and not just a change with my skin, but a change in the way I felt about myself, the change I wanted to get out in public, I wanted to do stuff, you know, so I found myself in this upward spiral that I actually was enjoying life again, and it really had such an amazing, profound effect on me that he's like, I really need some help. If any of you know Dave Sandoval, he's not the best at administration. He's like, I really need some help administering this business and running it. And so I said, you know what, this is so powerful. What it did for me, if we could get this message out to others, it's so powerful. So I picked up everything that I knew that was safe and comfortable and familiar, and I moved to California. And I dedicated my life to getting out and educating people about the relationship of whole foods, what this whole food diet could do for you, how it could change everything about your life, and it could bring your body back to homeostasis. It could bring your body back to the way God and Mother Nature intended. You know, we weren't put here on this earth to be tired all the time. We weren't put here to just be bystanders in our children's lives. So there's a story that there's a family in Central California, and they have like a lot of kids, like 7 or 8 kids. And the mom said, I literally was just a bystander. I barely could get up in the morning, throw some cereal on the table, and then drive them to school. That's all the energy I had. Pick them up and take them to their activities, and then I'm just on the couch. And she's like, she did the transformation. It wasn't just a transformation, it was a whole lifestyle transformation. And now she said, and honestly, this is one of the proudest moments for Dave and I in the company. I am not a bystander, I am an active participant in my children's life. Because I grabbed on to this lifestyle, I can now do things with the kids. I can get on the floor and play with the toddler. You know, I can be there. You know, because as a parent, what do we want to do? We want to spend time with our kids, right? We want to spend quality time, not just driving around in the car, right? And so she's like, I'm able to do that for the first time. And so, I mean, again, these foods can have such an amazing, profound effect. But people have known that, right? Like, we all know that juicing's good, or maybe we have a friend that's like a raw food guru or something, right? And so, or has anybody even gotten excited before, and you're like, I'm going to start juicing, and you go buy your juicer, and you go over to Whole Foods, or you go to Sprouts, or whatever or local farmer's market, you buy all this stuff, and you come home and you got to do something, right? And so you stick it in the vegetable drawer, the refrigerator. Well, you come back like 3 or 4 days later, like when you have time, and what do you find?
Goo.
You find like a bag of mush, right? You find a bag of mush and you're like, oh, I'm never going to do that again. I'm not going to waste $40 or $50 on that, and I don't have the time. So yes, I understand that if you have all the time in the world, you can have this living food lifestyle and you can reap all the benefits from this. But I don't have the time, so they don't reconcile for me. It doesn't work for me. So I'm stuck over here in the standard American diet. And that's where Dave and I have worked so hard. No, you're not. No, you don't have to be stuck in the standard American diet, because we've got products here at Purium that are easy, and they're convenient, and they're dehydrated at a low temperature, so you can still get the benefits of that living food lifestyle. You still have the enzymes are active when you mix it up and you shake it up. And if you don't believe me, you guys live where it's really hot, obviously. Has anybody ever left a shaker bottle in the car on a hot afternoon? Have you ever opened it up and taken a whiff? It smells really bad. And that is those live enzymes. That is the living flora dying and decaying. But if you drink soda or did drink soda, you ever leave a soda in the car? You can leave a soda in the car for days, and it may lose all its carbonation, but it doesn't go bad per se, except lose its carbonation. And that's the difference. These are living foods. They have live enzyme, good, friendly flora, and you don't have to make it a full-time job to reap the benefits of this lifestyle. So Dave and I have literally dedicated our lives to putting these products out there in this easy, convenient form where you can do it in a daily basis. So I'll tell a little story. Who's old enough here to remember those passbook savings accounts they had like in the 80s or early 90s? Anybody remember that? Okay, so I remember you'd get your allowance and you'd go to the savings, and you'd get this, and it would see your deposit, your balance going up. Well, think about your health. Think about your health like a passbook savings account. And so when you make a good decision, and if you can think about the decisions that you make about your food on a good, better, and best, there's always a good, better, and best option out there. And so health and well-being and vibrancy and feeling great, it's about the accumulation of those good, better, and best choices. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have, if you to join Purium, you certainly don't have to be perfect. It's open for everybody. And those good, better, and best choices are totally different for different people depending on where you are and on this journey to health. But if you make a good, better, and best choice, it's like making a deposit in that bank account. And then if you want to go have a piece of cake, or you have some ice cream, or whatever it may be, being social, do it. And so maybe you make a bad choice every once in a while, and it takes away. It's like a withdrawal, you know? But what happens if you're just making bad choices and you're withdrawing day after day after day after day after day? What's going to happen to your bank account?
It's going to debt.
You're going to bounce, right? And so, yeah, it's not just an NSF fee. It's not just $35 you're going to get charged. What you're going to get charged with is you're going to get charged with being tired all the time. You're going to get charged with being overweight. You're going to get charged with having a body that's the prime place for disease to breed, you know? So it's not, you know, it's so funny because it's so easy for us to treat like other things better than we treat ourselves. Like, anybody here have like a late model car, like a sports car? So you may not want to admit it, but you know, you read the thing on the side of the door and it tells you what kind of gas to buy. Is that not right? Or when you get it, it tells you what kind of gas to buy. Do you question that? Do you question that? Or you just go to the gas station and buy the grade of gas it says to buy because you don't want to mess up your new car? But we don't treat our bodies that well. We say, oh, I can't afford it, I don't have time. But our bodies aren't like a car. We don't get to trade it in every 3 years. We have one. We have one body. And we have to do, and no, there's not a manual. There is not a manual. There's not a sticker on our underarm here that tells us exactly what to do. And I'm not saying that Dave and I are the end-all, be-all, but there's evidence, there's documented scientific evidence and proof that, you know, that's out there that says if you eat, you know, if you eat whole foods, if you eat living foods, if you eat fruits and you eat vegetables on a daily basis, you can keep your body not just surviving, but thriving. And so I will tell you that with all the years that we've put in to our manufacturing facility and put in to the suppliers that we work with, we have gotten the best. We have done the due diligence for you. And that's why it's so important for us to actually come out and meet you guys and let you get a feel for who we are. But we go through a whole set of criteria before we'll let a supplier into the company to make sure that they align with our core values and to make sure that they care about quality just the way that we care about quality. So we have 23 years experience doing that. So it's super confusing when you go out there and say, there's so many things out there. How do I know what is good? Well, that's one thing I think you can trust about Purium, because we are our own manufacturer. And I'll tell you a story about, you know, because this journey's been going on for so long. And, you know, years ago, nobody cared. Like, nobody cared. We would be thrilled to death. Like, we couldn't even get 5 people in the room. We'd be thrilled to death to get 5 people in the room, you know? Because nobody cared about our message. And so we would, you know, we would be teaching people, like preaching and teaching and all this, and nobody cared. And so we're like, but why, you know, why don't people care? Why does it take getting some catastrophic diagnosis to get somebody's attention? Why do you have to get like the C word or something, or the D word, that, you know, something like that from your doctor? Come in and see me, let's have a chat before you'll take this serious, you know? And it kept coming back to time, and then you don't know who to trust and stuff like that. So, you know, we had this product. We knew we were on a mission all this time, but nobody seemed to care. Sorry to keep going back to that, but it was very profound. We had no money, and so we're like, we're going to start manufacturing products for others. And so we did, because we wanted to keep the doors open, because we knew the world needed our message. So there was another network marketing company out of Texas, and we made products for them, and they said, make the very best product that you can. We want the very best product. So we were elated. We're like, we have the very best product. It's sitting over at Whole Foods, nobody's buying it, but you know, you maybe have a better way of marketing through the networking model, and so yeah, we're gonna do it. But they're like, no, we can only pay $3. And we're like, well, that's kind of weird, because our product costs more than that because it's the very best, blah, blah, blah. So what do you do to meet the need? you have to cut the quality or you have to cut the potency. So it wasn't our brand, it was someone else's brand. So we did that for them. We charged them $3. And so then they had a big national convention like we had in August, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people there. And they asked Dave, get up on the stage and say it's the very best. And so he was like, well, it's not the very best because I know what the best is. So he said what he could because it still was a green drink, and it was a good, maybe a better choice. It wasn't the best. But so he said what he could. And then they took us back to their corporate office the next day. You know, we were going to celebrate how well we did. And so, you know, everybody's high-fiving and super excited about it, got this message out, and they're like, well, now that we're going to sell so much more, we need a discount. And it's like, well, you already said you could only pay $3, and so what do? You have to cut you have to cut something, because you remember we were doing this just to make a little bit of profit to keep our business and our dream going. You know, so that's what happens. Like, does anybody here work in purchasing or supply chain, or know anybody that works in purchasing or supply chain? So the reason for those jobs, for the most part, is to save the company money, right? And those jobs are created, and people are paid bonuses out. They're bonused out at the end of the year on how much money they can save the company. And so, you know, Dave and I looked at ourselves and we looked at each other, and we're just like, we can't keep doing this. You know, network marketing is the way to harness the energy of big groups of people. Network marketing is a way to get the army that we've been dreaming about. You
corporate team. It's Dr. Michael Woolfield. He's our naturopathic doctor. He's going to talk to us for a minute, and I think this is